very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Esha Inalia. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Lockdown extended by another 7 days, COVID-19 committee decides. Foreign Minister seeks economic cooperation with Iran. News in detail. At the special committee meeting chaired by the President this morning, it was decided to extend the current island-wide lockdown until 4 a.m. on Tuesday, September 21st. This decision comes at a time where Sri Lanka is facing large amounts of COVID infections and deaths every day. According to data from the Health Promotion Bureau, Sri Lanka has a total of 477,636 cases reported until today. Out of this, 2,856 cases were reported within the last 24 hours. This number shows a significant decrease in the number of cases reportedly daily compared to the 4,562 patients reported on 30th of August. Meanwhile, 175 deaths were reported within the last 24 hours, raising the total COVID death count to 10,864. Furthermore, in the last 24 hours, 1,507 recoveries were reported, bringing the total number of recovered COVID patients to 409,628. Out of the total COVID-19 cases reported, 85.8% of them are recovered patients, while 12% of the cases are active cases receiving treatment. Furthermore, the 10,864 deaths amount only 2.2% of the total COVID count. Moreover, Sri Lanka's recovery rate stands at 85.76%, with India having the highest recovery rate of 97.46%. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka informs that licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks have been requested to consider extending the concessions granted previously to borrowers affected by COVID-19 up to the end of December. CBSL stated this, issuing a press release day before yesterday. Licensed banks have been requested to offer additional concessions to affected borrowers at their request in a way that the overall benefits to the borrowers are not less than those specified by CBSL. These new concessions are expected to provide an opportunity for affected borrowers to make arrangements to repay their dues regularly commencing January 2022. CBSL further stated that it is also important to note that licensed banks too have been affected by continuous disruption of normal business while they continue to honor their obligations, especially timely repayment of interest and or capital to depositors and incurring a range of essential operating expenses. Therefore, CBSL urges the eligible borrowers who can repay loans to commence or continue the repayments instead of requesting deferment or restructuring of credit facilities. Licensed banks are also expected to take note of the repayment capacity of affected borrowers and amicably agree on new repayment plans to facilitate customers to repay their dues without undue burden to their day-to-day activities. Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Peiris has sought greater economic cooperation with Iran, including enhanced bilateral trade, investment and the possibilities of cooperation in new sectors such as tourism and energy. The minister made this request when the ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Hashim Ashzadeh, called on him at the Foreign Ministry day before yesterday. Foreign Minister G.L. Peiris has sought enhanced bilateral trade, investment and cooperation in tourism and energy amidst a U.S. sanction imposed in 2012 is in place at meeting with Tehran's envoy in Colombo. Minister Peiris made the request when Hashim Ashzadeh, Iran's ambassador, called on him this Wednesday, Foreign Ministry said in a statement. Peiris also conveyed Sri Lanka's appreciation for the steadfast support extended by Iran during the Human Rights Council sessions held in Geneva and at other multilateral fora. Iran has sided with Sri Lanka's rulers against many Western nations who had wanted to probe alleged war crimes and past human rights violations against citizens to ensure reconciliation and lasting peace. Sri Lanka was forced to stop importing Iranian light crude officially after sanctions were imposed in 2012. The island nation still owes $250 million to Iran, which it is unable to settle through the dollar banking system, though attempts have been made to settle it against tea shipments. It was not immediately clear how Sri Lanka could benefit from great economic cooperation, enhanced bilateral trade, investment and possibilities of cooperation in tourism and energy with Iran under the U.S. sanctions. Iran ambassador Ashdazadeh had told media that Iran had proposed to open an account with Sri Lanka's central bank, and Sri Lanka can open an account with Iranian central bank, and the exports between both countries could go to these accounts directly, and they can balance the accounts in rupees and rial respectively without the involvement of a foreign bank. Iran officials have said in the past that the discussions on a possible barter system have made progress, and Iran is ready to export petrochemicals and equipment as well. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
SLT Mobitel Home Broadband within online learning සහ online working සඳහා ඇදහිය නොහැකි data දීමනා GB 30ක් රුපියල් 195යි GB 100ක් රුපියල් 490යි කාර්යාලයක් පාසලක් ගෙදරටම ගෙනෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රමුඛතම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් සබඳතාවය SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැදියාව
අන්තර්ජාලය ෆයිබර් සමගින් බලකැන් වෙන තැන ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි දැන් අධ්‍යාපනයට බාධා ප්‍රමාද නැති අන්තර්ජාලය ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි දැන් වල පැහැදිලි බගේ උපරිමය ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි දැන් වීගීට අධිවේගී අධිබලය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වේගවත්ම සහ පුදුම ප්‍රීමියම් ෆයිබර් අන්තර්ජාලය SLT Mobitel Fiber දේශීය ෆයිබර් බලවේගය.
Welcome back after the break. BRICS, an annual gathering of the world's leading emerging economies, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, gathered this year virtually. The BRICS summit was chaired by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro also attended, along with President Xi Jinping of China, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa. In his keynote speech, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that even during the COVID situation, India had organized more than 150 BRICS meetings, out of which 20 were of ministerial level. Prime Minister Modi further stated that the first ever BRICS Digital Summit was held, which was an initiative step to increase health access with the help of technology. President of China Xi Jinping said BRICS countries have become an important force on the international stage to be reckoned with, adding that since the beginning of this year, the 5 countries overcoming the impact of COVID have maintained the momentum of the cooperation and secured new progress in many areas. President of the South African Republic Cyril Ramaphosa stressed that every country should contribute their fair share to the Access COVID-19 Tools Accelerator and also support the proposal made by India and South Africa and the WTO for a waiver of the CHIPS mechanisms to ensure a rapid expansion of COVID-19 vaccine production across the world. President of Russia Vladimir Putin expressed that the US withdrawal from Afghanistan has led to a new crisis in the world, and it is still unclear how this will affect regional and global security. President Putin further stated that the BRICS partners have paid special attention to this issue. President Putin said Russia, just like its BRIC partners, has consistently spoken for establishing long-awaited peace and stability of Afghan soil. Media Minister Dallas Alaha-Perumal recently had to apologize to Professor Nilika Malavige of the Department of Immunology and Molecular Medicine at the Faculty of Medicine Sciences of the University of Sri Jawadhanapura for an incorrect reporting by some print media. Professor Malavige had only elaborated the current situation of the school children during a 40-minute-long webinar by a known private school in the country. Here we reproduce the part where some media was wrongly interpreted.
Sri Lanka had its schools closed more than any country in the world since the beginning of the pandemic, despite lower case rates and deaths. Until now we didn't have that much cases and deaths. And right now, only 15 countries in the world have their schools closed. And of course, we have a high number of cases, and a similar number of cases are seen in Europe, in Russia, in US, and so many other countries. If you take the cases, of course, we have high death rates because all our adult population are not fully vaccinated yet. The UK, Europe, and other countries are seeing very few death rates because vaccines prevent deaths And because you have a fully vaccinated population being infected, so then it's okay. So, and in other countries, you can see that vaccination only started recently, and they had lots of cases all this time, and all other schools were open way before children were vaccinated. But of course, children with immunosuppression, obesity, heart disease, kidney disease can get severe disease and are at a risk of dying. And in Sri Lanka, 32 kids have died so far. Vaccines are safe with very rare side effects, which I spoke about, the myocarditis issue. And of course, UNESCO has made a statement saying that this is the UNICEF director saying reopening schools cannot wait. And Europe opened their schools very early. They hardly closed their schools because they said that European children didn't have equal access to online schooling, and online schooling was not a good method of teaching children.
Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All Share Price Index dropped 121.10 points to close at 8,865.30, and the S&P SL 20 dropped 40.53 points to close at 3,335.51. The turnover was 6.9 billion rupees and over 248 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you on Monday with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.